Welcome to the More Podcast with Ava and Najee, where we are manifesting original rich bitch experiences. Each week, we bring you travel reviews, wellness advice, and general millennial musings with a level of refinement. What level? It fucking depends. Welcome back to another travel review episode.
Yay, third travel review. Or is it second? Or is it fourth? Don't really know. But we're doing it.
Our second.
Yay.
And we are reviewing the lovely city of London today.
I love London so much.
Love London. And this is obviously a very large city,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be impossible to review the entirety of the area.
Mm-mm.
But we're going to do our best to give a little sampling of the neighborhoods and the experiences we had together while we were here.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should start with just getting here, because there's been a lot of chatter in the news, in the media, about flight nightmares, lost luggage, delays, this, that, and the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
And what I will say is true is that everyone is traveling this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely everyone. The UK is busy, Europe is popping. There's tons and tons of pent-up demand for travel based on being fairly immobile for a couple years.
Yep.
So I would say that is definitely real. However, I personally have not experienced the degree of nightmare that's being portrayed.
Right.
I flew here to London from Minneapolis. I took a nonstop flight on Delta. Love Delta girl for life. And I had a very smooth flight.
Mm-hmm.
So I left home at 5 p.m., took a flight, landed locally 6:45 in the morning. We were 40 minutes ahead of schedule because we had some tailwinds.
Mm-hmm.
And my luggage was all fine. I have 2 bags I'm traveling with, a carry-on and a check bag. Have them both. Very happy about that. And my experience was pretty smooth. So I can't say that I've run into the degree of disaster that's currently being talked about. Now, that's not to say it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think a lot of people, especially before my flight, were like kind of trying to like stress me out about it. Like, hey, you need to get to the airport 6 hours early. Oh, you're flying to Heathrow. Like, good luck for you. And it's like, no. It's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was.
Perfect.
So I'm happy about that.
That's good.
And you met me from Croatia.
Yes. Honestly, I hadn't had any issues flying either, in any of my trips. Like before I met you, I was in Croatia and before then with Switzerland, and
Mm-hmm.
all those flights were pretty smooth. I did recently overhear in just, my dealings in London that someone who was flying from Atlanta last Saturday did encounter all that mess in Heathrow. He was there apparently for like 7 hours waiting for his bag. And it brought it closer to home a little bit, but luckily we didn't really have any issues.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a little bit of a hit or miss. Some of the airlines are lacking on staff. Apparently there's some type of like pilot strikes that might be happening in
Shortage.
specific cities. The best thing I would probably just say is just like check what's happening at the airport you're leaving from and where you're going to, and just make sure it's not just like a continuous thing. Because what happened at Heathrow about a week ago was it's pretty much an anomaly for people to be waiting 6 hours for their baggage
Do you know if your friend had a nonstop flight?
from Atlanta. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because I have a theory that the less segments you take, obviously, like the smoother your trip will be.
Mm-hmm.
Less chances for lost bags,
Yeah.
less chances for delays or missed flights.
Mm-hmm.
So when possible, I'm always looking for the nonstop.
Yeah. Plus, just layovers kind of suck.
Yeah, layovers aren't fun.
But we got here.
We're here and we're in London, and we are staying in Shoreditch, which is a very trendy, artsy, creative, busy, bustling neighborhood.
Hmm.
And I've got to say, I love it.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it, definitely.
It's there's a lot of fun things to do. There's tons of restaurants. There's like a huge vintage scene,
Hmm.
which I actually didn't even realize until I got here. And I was pleasantly surprised because I love to shop vintage.
Hmm.
So they have an entire street called Brick Lane,
Hmm.
like filled with shops. And I know that we both ended up buying something.
Yes.
We both went vintage shopping, and it's really cool because there's just like imagine a shit ton of vintage stores and then multiply that by 5.
Yeah.
It really is that expansive.
There's a lot, and honestly, I could spend the entire day just shopping there. Um, unfortunately, I only bought one thing, and it wasn't even vintage. But knowing that I had to go back home, I had to
Yeah.
be very conscious of exactly what I'm bringing back.
Yes, and I'm in the same boat. So I packed 2 bags, like I mentioned. My entire life is in 2 suitcases. And even getting here, I had to sacrifice a lot of my staple items. My Red Wing boots, I miss them
Hmm.
already. They're at home. They weighed 2.5 pounds and they just didn't make the cut. So what did I do on my first day in London? I bought a very bulky sweater.
Hmm.
Obviously, obviously. I won't wear it for another several weeks, but I bought it because it's cute.
Hmm.
And it's like a Coogie style sweater. So like kind of loud, knitted, patterned, varied colors. This one's actually black and brown and white. But typically the ones I've seen, and like my grandma even has one, is like they're very bold, they're very loud. We're
Hmm.
talking like red and yellow and blue, all in the same sweater. And like when you see a find in a vintage store and you know it's yours, you just know
Hmm.
because you have to weed through a lot of shit to get there.
Yeah.
And sometimes things just don't make sense. Like logically, this sweater didn't make sense for me, but I knew I needed it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I have
Good. That's really all that matters. Like,
it.
honestly, you're shopping for you and your peace of mind.
As I talk myself into the fact that this was a great purchase. I don't have any room in my luggage, but it somehow is going to fit.
It's somehow going to fit. Like, coincidentally, I bought a sweater as well in the middle of the summertime.
Peak summer. We're buying sweaters, you guys.
We're buying for basically fall winter 2021 or 22. But yeah, I'm gonna somehow fit it in my luggage as well. It was super cute. I actually found this shop on Box Park, which is a very kind of like popular outdoor kind of area where people can eat and they can drink at the bars and stuff like that. And there's shops underneath. And that particular store is like owned by like 3 African girls, and they make all these like different like clothing items and like little trinkets and accessories and stuff. So I had to support, and the sweater was cute. So I was like, when in London.
And what is it called? They call it like a jumper.
They call the sweater a jumper. That's what it
Yeah.
says on the tag. And I'm like, okay,
It's a sweatshirt though. Like,
yeah,
let's not be
it's
confused.
not a one piece. It's just a regular sweater that happens to be called a jumper. So we notice there's a lot of kind of differences when it comes to how they refer to things.
Yes. Jumper, sweater, sweatshirt being one of them.
Yeah.
But I love the shopping. It was really great. For all the vintage lovers, Brick Lane is a must see.
Hmm.
And our first night in London, we stayed in an area or on a street called Red Church Street. And this is another like really nice kind of stretch of like a few blocks of a lot of nice shops. To give you an idea, there's like a Reformation there, there's an Aesop there, there's like a really cool homewares store there that I didn't go in, but a lot of nice options. And there's also a coffee shop literally on every corner,
Yes.
which I think is fun because people were drinking coffee at all hours of the day,
Hmm.
every single day.
Yeah, big coffee culture here.
Big coffee culture. But I found one shop in particular that I really loved called Jolene.
Mm.
And it's just this tiny little, basically the size of a closet on the end of a block. And it's super cute. It's like painted peach bricks. So like you see it on the outside. And you walk in and there's literally maybe like 5 pastry options. Grab and go style. Love that. I was there twice in 2 days, not gonna lie. I had a raspberry Danish the first day, and then I wanted the same thing the second day, but they remixed it, and it
Hmm.
was strawberry Danish the second day. Both of them were equally as delicious.
Nice.
But I just love the vibe. It was super cute. A little coffee to go with it.
Hmm.
Little, emphasis on little. Everything's smaller. Like liquids are smaller here, but that's okay. I mean, honestly, I'm not a proponent of the 32-ounce coffees, anyways. I think that's toxic.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But it was so cute. And our first night we stayed at Red Church Townhouse, which is a Soho House property.
Hmm.
And it gave us access to Shoreditch House around the block.
Yeah.
So that was really nice because we could experience both of those locations right in the same area. And I feel like that is the most comfortable bed I've slept in weeks.
Yes.
It was amazing. Loved that.
Hmm.
Also they have like the Cowshed products, the Soho House branded products in the showers, and there was like 10 different body washes to choose from. There's so many, but I loved that, especially like when you normally go to a hotel and you can't choose your scent. It's
Right.
like you get what they give you. Here you can choose your scent, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I loved how big the shower was. I will say that. Coming from a whole bunch of really small showers in Switzerland, it was a pleasant surprise to actually have space to kind of like actually turn around and stretch out a little bit in the shower. So shout out to that.
You're like, I could clean my whole body in that shower.
Yeah, finally.
I know. So I really loved that. And for those who aren't familiar, Soho House is a membership, and it's a collection of hotels around the world. And they also have like co-working spaces that are really cool, and events and bars, etc. But
Mhm.
you typically have to be a member to access their spaces. We are not members. However, I am a Soho Friends member, which is just a very peeled back version of their membership that essentially allows you to book rooms at their properties. So that was really cool. I feel like if there was a Soho House in Minneapolis, I would be a member, but since there's not, I think the closest one is Chicago.
Mm.
Like it's no benefit to me to be a member at this point.
Which isn't super close.
No, it's not super close, but I really did love that. And I would say like the Soho House bar was a vibe.
It was really popping up there.
We were there on like a Tuesday, and it was a full out DJ. I don't even know what was
There was a
happening.
DJ, there was a lot of friend groups just hanging out. I can tell the bartenders were having a really good time
Yeah,
too. So, I mean, it was definitely a vibe.
it was a vibe. Really great views.
Beautiful views.
Um, I was up there at sunset, and it was just really nice to see the beautiful skies. It was like purple and pink setting over the city, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was a very, very nice time there.
Then we went up the street to the Hoxton Hotel,
Yes, the Hoxton and Shoreditch.
about 10 minutes up the street.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say this is like a really great area too.
Oh yeah, I'm obsessed with this area.
There's so much in walking distance.
Yes, I was just pleasantly surprised. I feel like the Hoxton Hotel we stayed at felt a little bit more like a microcosm of the neighborhood that we're staying in.
Yeah,
I feel like every day, from basically the morning all the way to the evening, you'd see plenty of young people on their laptops, collaborating, creating, drinking coffee, eating lunch.
yeah,
When the workday ends, they're at the bar, they're having fun, they're meeting friends. And that is basically kind of how Shoreditch is from day to day, I feel like.
yeah,
I love the diversity. I love the energy. I love the abundance of things to do,
yeah.
from the shopping to the dining to the drinking to even the amount of creative working spaces that they have in
Hmm.
Shoreditch. I can totally tell you this is definitely my vibes. It's definitely somewhere can see myself living 1,000%.
Yeah. There's a lot of laptops in the
Mhm.
lobby, which was cool because, for us, it's like I'm a digital nomad as well. So I'm working remotely, and I love that there's just a lot of people kind of doing the same thing
Mhm.
in a common space. And so I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting that
At
in
all.
the lobby, but I was pleasantly surprised. And I'm like, oh, I could get into this.
Yeah, I can see the purpose of it.
Yeah. We tried a lot of different restaurants, a lot of different types of food,
Mhm.
and there's just so many options. I feel like, should we go in order or should we break down our faves?
Why don't we, yeah, let's break down our faves in the area.
Okay. Well, the first night we got to the Hoxton, we tried the Mexican concept on their roof called Maya.
Maya, yes.
And what's it like seventh floor rooftop?
Mm-hmm.
So the vibes and the views were immaculate.
Mm-hmm.
Really beautiful space, a lot of natural daylight, obviously, on the rooftop there. Very nice color scheme, like greens and yellows and
Yeah, it
warm.
felt
And just
so natural and warm.
there's a lot of light up there, which I feel like they honestly designed that rooftop for like food bloggers
Oh yeah.
because our meals, like the tables were perfectly lit with the natural light from like the
Hmm.
skylights. I'm like, this is so smart.
Definitely smart. I love that they had like a very kind of like natural breeze up there too. Even if you were sitting on the
Yes.
inside, it just felt very relaxing.
Yeah, because they had like windows that opened and there's a
Hmm.
nice breeze blowing through.
Yeah, and you're just looking at a beautiful view. I really, really love that.
Me too. The food was good, but I will say it's not great.
Yeah, the food was decent. I did like the guac. It just tasted really, really fresh, and you can see they had like a little table where they kind of freshly made the guac. So yeah, the food that we had was okay. The street corn was it was good. It wasn't nasty.
Oh my gosh, it was not nasty.
It wasn't
No.
nasty.
I will say though, I think finding good Mexican food in London, I'm just gonna bet is like not the easiest thing because we've had a couple of meals and it's not as flavorful. There's no spice to it really. I had the chicken tinga tacos and I mean, they were mild,
Mhm.
which is unusual.
Yeah.
So I think it was fine.
Yeah, it
Like I said,
was.
the food was good. The views and the vibes were great.
Yeah. Honestly, views and vibes. And I think I've told you this before, just coming from DC, it's like everything's overpriced and it's rare to find a restaurant that's like really, really, really good food. It's really the views and the vibes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of in line with what I was thinking I
Oh.
would find in a large city.
Well, I was slightly disappointed, not gonna lie. Not going to lie. But one meal that we had that I thought that was really delicious was at a Burmese restaurant called La Pet.
Hmm.
And this is something that I discovered in Dua Lipa's Service 95 newsletter. Um, Checked it out because I knew we'd be heading to London.
Hmm.
Checked out the link. It was a nice little write-up about the restaurant, and I'm glad that we tried it out because I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah, I actually liked La Pet a lot. I was a little on edge because I was wearing a white shirt and we were eating kind of like noodle dishes. So I was like really trying not to like mess anything up.
Yeah.
But I would definitely 1,000% go back and with a black shirt and chow down because the food was actually really good.
Yeah, so one of their specialties is called a tea leaf salad,
Hmm.
and that was interesting. It had fermented tea leaves like in the salad, along with a lot of different things. So we started with that, and I liked that.
That was good.
And then I got the coconut noodles with chicken,
Mhm.
which is essentially like coconut curry-esque noodle dish, and that was so good. So, so good.
Hmm. Hmm.
Ugh, coconut milk just feels like a hug.
Like a warm
I
hug on a nice
love that.
day. Yes.
I really, really love that.
Yes, La Pet was it. I think the ambiance and the service, and it seemed like a pretty popular restaurant too.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of people in London would agree with us.
Yes. I thought those were pretty good options. One of the days though, we actually took the tube over to Hyde Park to check out some
Mm,
other neighborhoods.
yes.
And I was a happy camper there because we went to the Hyde Park Rose Gardens.
Yes.
And you know how I love rose gardens.
Yes, we talked about it in our
Ah,
Minneapolis recap, which was kind of fun. We touched on it a little bit.
I know. It felt like a full circle moment. So it was interesting to check out the English roses,
Hmm.
because they are different.
So many different colors.
Yes.
It's a really large park, and they smelled so good.
Yeah, I know.
I loved Hyde Park, loved the Rose Garden.
It was great.
It's really pretty.
It was really pretty. I enjoyed that. And I feel like that's going to be one of my new things where it's like, you know how some people travel to check out like different, say they like always want to try a certain dish or they
Mhm.
always want to see a certain thing. Like, I feel like my thing is now rose gardens. Like, does the city have a rose garden?
Yeah.
Yes or no? If yes, I'll be there. If no, maybe.
No, I love that. I think that should definitely be your thing. Another one of my friends' things is like trying out Ethiopian restaurants at like every location.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I
that's
think
cool.
that's something just to compare and contrast or have something that feels a little familiar in each city.
Yeah. What's your thing?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet.
I'll have to get back to you on
Okay. All right.
that.
That's cool. So we worked our way kind of from Hyde Park that day through some of the more popular kind of neighborhoods that you'd probably
Yep.
associate more with being in London. Because we obviously needed to see the sights
hmm
and do like a little bit of
Yeah,
tourism, not
just to get
too
the vibe.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just something to say that you were in the area, you kind of caught what the feelings were, you saw some things, and called it a day. So after Hyde Park, we kind of made our way east over into the kind of Soho area
Mm-hmm.
of London, where we saw lots of shopping,
Yes.
lots of people,
Yeah.
lots of English flags,
Yes.
and apparently lots of American candy stores.
There's a yes. We somehow ended up in the British equivalent of Times Square.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
And there were like 4 or 5 shops called American Candy Shop. And they were advertising like M&Ms, Cheetos, which
Cheetos.
one of these things is not like the other.
Yes.
Like Nerds, Willy Wonka, and it was just like really strange because we both looked at each other and were like, okay, would you ever go into one of these candy shops? And we're both like, no.
I'm like, why is there 4 American candy shops within a 3 block radius? I didn't understand that, but I mean, it's Soho. I guess you can see a little bit of everything there.
Yes. Well, we breezed past the candy shops, but we did stop for lunch at a place called Bao
Love that.
and Taiwanese style buns, hot
Mm-mm.
buns. And I was really, really excited about this place because, well, on our way there, it was around the corner from an OVO store. And it's like, that's Drake's store.
It is.
You know, he's not going to pick a shitty neighborhood location for his store. So I'm like, okay, this already passes a vibe check. So then we got there and it was this tiny little, I don't know, maybe 15 15-seat restaurant.
So small.
And it was packed, which is a good sign as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we waited for a table and we had a really great lunch. But it was just super cute. And I had a couple of different buns. I had like the classic, and I also had a fried chicken bun.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them were delicious.
Yes.
I had like a sour plum drink,
Mm-hmm.
which was really nice. Kind of like a juice, but different.
Yeah.
It was really refreshing because it was hot,
It was
hot
hot.
day.
It was hot and it was really packed in there. So it was a little heated in there
I
as
know.
well.
But it was so cute. I love little pocket restaurants like that.
Oh, the buns looked really, really good. I had Taiwanese fried chicken, which was really great, with some sweet potato fries, and
Mhm.
which is a really good experience.
Yep, I enjoyed it. That was good food and good vibe.
Yes. Okay, so then I think after Bao, we made our way south towards the river, and we ended up walking through the theater district and seeing all the different theaters and the shows that were happening there. We walked through Chinatown and saw a lot of the Asian inspired restaurants that are there. We stopped by Trafalgar Square, which is a really, really huge London landmark
Mm-hmm.
where the Canadian Embassy is. A lot of other like government buildings are there, beautiful fountains. So that was fun, and we took a couple of pictures there at Trafalgar.
Yeah. The the classic tourism photo.
You have to do it, I think, at
I
least
know.
once, especially in London. Especially not being from London too.
Yes, that's true.
We continued south to Westminster Bridge and saw Big Ben, took our obligatory
Mhm.
photos there.
And Big Ben was looking good. The scaffolding has been removed.
Yay.
I think it was under like a reconstruction or preservation project for a couple years. And I know that they had just pulled back the scaffolding. So it was nice to have an unobstructed view.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very beautiful, very intricate, much more detailed. And I think it's true with a lot of structures. Like they're much more detailed in real life. than they look like online.
Yeah.
And so it's always fun to see them in person. And it's just, I'm always so impressed by old architecture because it was really like now construction is just lazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheap, it's fast, and I hate it. Everything old and beautiful, it's like they didn't care if it took 50 years to make, 100 years to make, they were going to make it in the best way possible.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these beautiful structures are now attractions because they are just so incredible.
Yeah. And Big Ben is definitely one of those kind of quintessential London landmarks that has really withstood the test of time.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's still absolutely gorgeous.
Yep. So we saw that, which was nice. And what the one like thing we did that we actually bought admission to, if you will, was the London Eye. And I would say we got some good views.
Yeah, beautiful views. You really get to see the entire city, both the south side and the north side. So I love the London Eye. It's a really nice place.
I would say if our listeners were to go, I'd say buy tickets online in advance
Mm-hmm.
because well, we got lucky and they still had some last minute tickets for the day. However, when you buy them online, you literally get a specific time that you get to go visit.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just waiting in a bunch of different lines, you buy your tickets in advance, you show up at your ticket time, and then you get in line, which is a much smoother process because honestly, I don't wait in line. I really don't wait in line.
I don't do lines.
I get that we waited in line for this, but like in regular life, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
So tickets in advance would definitely be helpful
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking to save some time and energy.
Yep. So London Eye, really great attraction, big Ferris wheel, the one that you always see when you see pictures of London. I've had the pleasure of going at night and the daytime, both stunning views.
Mm.
And yeah, try to go off season if you can.
Yes. Although then you would be wearing like a winter coat.
Or at least a jacket.
A winter jacket. So I enjoyed that. I think we got some good views. It's nice to see the city. I always like seeing the city from above.
Yeah.
Like we did that in Bath too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always nice just to get a different perspective.
Yeah. It was great traveling through London's West End and just seeing some of the sights.
But then we were exhausted when we got back to
Yeah,
Shoreditch.
it's enough peopling for the day. I think at the end of the day, I was like, get me back to Shoreditch, please.
It was a lot of people, and I'm not fully comfortable with being around tons of people yet
Mhm.
again. Like I still would prefer to not be in a lot of those types of situations.
Mhm.
There's, there's COVID variants coming back around and new ones popping up. And so, just to mention that if you're someone who's still trying to like avoid crowds like that, I'd say probably hold off on doing some of the more tourist attractions. So we did take a little, I don't know if we even call this a day trip, but we took a little detour one of our days down to Brixton.
We did. So this is my second time in London,
Mm-hmm.
and I really wanted to get a Black-centered experience. That's why I particularly sought out Brixton. One thing I love about Shoreditch is the diversity here, but this area also just feels like very kind of hipster. So one of those areas where back at home you'd be paying like $2,500 for rent. So I kind of wanted to feel something like a little bit more like Black centered. And I think Brixton kind of gave me a little bit of a taste of what that would look like. So we went down there to South London for the day and had quite a day. So we started at the Black Cultural Archives, where we were able to kind of get into the history of Black people in England. That started way, way back in the day, went through what slavery looked like from a British perspective, went through kind of the cultural implications and influence that people from the Caribbean have on British culture. One thing I would have liked to see from the Cultural Archive specifically was maybe some more information about African culture, people from Sudan, Ethiopia, Uganda, Like I know there's a big population of African culture here, but just seeing it from the Caribbean perspective was really nice and interesting and eye-opening. And they even had an exhibit that kind of had the setup of what the typical, British Caribbean household would look like
Yeah.
back in the 40s and 50s when a lot of that migration was happening from the Caribbean islands over to Britain.
Yep.
So that was very fun, very interesting, eye-opening, and I love to have kind of like some of those historical experiences whenever I travel.
Hmm.
So that was interesting. After that, we wanted to kind of do lunch. So we walked around the area a little bit, experienced the Brixton Market, which has a lot of just stands where people are selling goods, items, food, fresh meat, fresh fish. So that was interesting and reminded me a lot of maybe some of the experiences I've had growing up and also some of the experiences that I've had when I was living in Philly when we used to like go to Reading Terminal Market to buy fresh fish or fresh meat. So that was
Hmm.
fun. We ended up stumbling into some place for lunch and thinking about whether we wanted to eat there or not. We ended up encountering who I like to affectionately refer to as the mayor of Brixton.
Yes. Not the literal mayor, though.
A nice young man named Gerald who actually runs Impact Brixton, which is basically a creator space and a community space where people in the Brixton area can come, they can work, they host events, and they also just like really promote a lot of the great things that are happening in Brixton, and Black culture in Brixton as well, just trying to keep that in life. Fun fact, we also learned that they're doing a collaboration with some community leaders from Harlem who will be
Yeah.
coming in August. So I thought that was really cool. And apparently they do stuff like that pretty often.
Yeah. That was cool hearing the connection. New York,
Yes.
London.
So many similarities. So many similarities. Brixton definitely felt like kind of like a British Harlem, if you will. And I've been saying that London overall just feels like a little bit of a older and maybe a little bit of a calmer New York.
Yeah, it definitely gives me New York vibes, except nobody's in a rush.
Yeah.
Although I've heard once you get into like Canary Wharf and those the more the business district of London, it is very
Hmm.
much that vibe.
Got you.
So we like to stay a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice little afternoon that we had. I enjoyed going with you.
Yeah, that was a lot of
I
fun.
don't think like my first time trip, if I was solo, I probably
Hmm.
wouldn't have made it down there.
Hmm.
And I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend a solo traveler go there their first time in the city.
Hmm.
It's just a bit of a different vibe, and especially when you're unfamiliar with where you are, it can be kind of harder to like acclimate.
Yeah.
It wasn't as like solo traveler friendly.
Yeah, we didn't go that far into Brixton. We kind of basically just stayed around where the main kind of like attraction points were that were around the actual the tube station. So that was cool. Love Brixton. I was thinking that like Shoreditch is a place where I would probably want to live,
Yeah.
but something like Brixton would be something I could probably afford a little bit easier right now, as I'm still manifesting my rich experiences
Yes.
in
Makes
life.
sense.
So super dope. If you're really interested in culture and learning about like Black history, I think Brixton's definitely a way to go. There's also several other like exhibits at different museums that you can embark on as well. So it's pretty cool.
Loved it. So there's so much to do in London. Obviously, again, we kind of covered more of the east side because that's where we're staying.
Mhm.
But I feel like you could have probably 10 completely different trips in this city,
1,000%.
and there's something for everyone, really. And so definitely recommend. It's summertime is definitely it feels busy. Hotels are packed,
Yes.
restaurants are busy. We've definitely had to make reservations.
Mhm.
We've been turned away some restaurants based on not having reservations. So it definitely is busy. And if you're interested in visiting in the summertime, just plan ahead. And also bring some clothing that is cool because air conditioning is not commonplace.
Mhm.
So if you're coming from the US and you're expecting air conditioning, you might be in for a not so sweet treat.
Yeah, so just be aware of that. In summertime, apparently it doesn't get too hot, but Apparently, when we were visiting, it's probably one of the hotter times
It's
that
going to be
they've had
100 degrees next week.
in London.
Yes,
That's insane.
it's going to be 100
Is
degrees.
this global warming? Like,
Of
what's
course,
happening?
of course it is. Summer on planet Earth is fucking hot.
Well, gotta gear up for that. Good luck to you.
Well, yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's give like we do with our travel reviews, let's give our time in London a rating out of 10.
Hmm. If I was to rate my trip, this particular trip, I would probably I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I love London. One thing I love about urban areas is that, especially urban areas that are large,
Mhm.
there's so many different areas to explore, so many things to see. And I think that we kind of really were able to see two different sides of the city
Yeah.
than we would typically see with Shoreditch and Brixton. So lots to do, lots to see. I kind of just want to do and see more, but London's great. It was really hot. I was sweating, and y'all know I don't like sweating. But yeah, I love London. I love Shoreditch, love Brixton, and I'm looking forward to kind of like what the next visit holds.
Okay. I would give London a 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a world-class city. I love this neighborhood in Shoreditch. I feel very at home here
Yeah.
amongst a lot of other creatives. And I am staying actually for a longer while. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to just getting more acclimated and getting into some more routines, daily routines, things that make me feel a little less like I'm on a vacation, more like I'm a local.
Mm-hmm.
A girl can always dream. And so I love it.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 for me.
Perfect. Right on par with Minneapolis.
Of course.
Love that. Love that. Awesome. So is there anything else we want to mention about London for our listeners?
Nope.
Awesome. Well, let's close out. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, and tune in every Wednesday to hear the things that make us more us and discover a thing or two to make you more you. Bye.
Bye.